speaker Rohit, and he is a 5x certified and technical consultant at Perficient. And today's concept is OOPS concept in Apex, and we will get on hands-on in this session. Okay, this is me, R. Sashish Kiran. I am 5x certified and doing a Salesforce developer job in one of the big four company. And these are my social media handles. And New Delhi Salesforce group is one of the we done our meetup in 2016. That was our Twitter handle, and hashtag we use is hashtag Impact Salesforce Saturday. Initially, we called it as Virtual Salesforce Saturday, but after that, we changed it to hashtag Impact Salesforce Saturday to make an impact in community, Trailblazer community. And you can get past sessions in our YouTube channel, and we can follow our website for the upcoming sessions. Talent Central is one of the best idea of our New Delhi Salesforce group, where we can get the Salesforce ecosystem jobs for the students who are wanted to get into the Salesforce domain. And this was one of the our achievements, success stories from the Talent Central. And this was Let's Implement is one of the job opportunities in Salesforce Talent Central. Through this initiative, many of the persons will get jobs through Salesforce ecosystem. These are our social media handles, which is our website, Mentorship Central, and New Delhi YouTube Salesforce group channel, Twitter and LinkedIn. You guys can follow there and get updates about the upcoming sessions, and past session recordings can be available. And thank you for our sponsors, Cloud Vandana and GreyOps. And over to you, Rohit sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sasi, and all the attendees. So let me share my screen. And today our session is related to my OOPS concept under the Salesforce, right? So there are so many things under this session. So we will see one by one here. Okay, so let me mute my phone first of all. Okay, fine. So let me share my screen. So everyone, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes. Okay, fine. So my name is Rohit Kumar. I'm a Salesforce developer. I have 5x certified Salesforce and also 1x Copado. And I'm a YouTuber, blogger, and all the things related to my YouTube channel. Here you can see my YouTube channel, like Salesforcehunt. This is my YouTube logo, and you can follow me on this social media handles. Right now, let's get started without any further delay. Here you can see the title, like Object-Oriented Programming System under the Apex. Okay, so we will see one by one things under this session. So here. Yeah, so before starting this like object-oriented programming, so first of all, we have to understand what is procedural programming language and object-oriented programming language, right? So before object-oriented programming language, we have procedural programming language. Here you can see, right? So what is the drawback and what is the benefit of this programming language, we will see. Then we will move the pillar of object-oriented programming, as you know, like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. Okay, and there are so many things. I will show you one by one here. Okay, with practical, not like all the slides and all the like this. Okay, so don't worry about it. So here, this is the one point here that is called procedural programming language. So what is procedural programming language here? So you can see like in this programming language like C and C++, the main difference between the procedural and we can say that object-oriented programming language, the main difference is like everything under everything, like let's say any program, if you want to write under C and C++, so every program written under the main block. So main is the entry point, as you know very well, right? So program is a collection of the members like variables and functions that are defined in a program and then called under the main function for the execution, as you know very well. So if you define like void main, something like under C++, like C in and C out, or stdio.h, conio.h, these all header files, and printf, scanf in C. Okay, so we have some limitation under the C and C++. That's why object-oriented programming come to the picture here. right? So because main is the entry point of any program, if you want to write C and C++ program, we will see each and every program here. So what is the problem on that? So we will see here. So like C program. So if you want to write any C program, so like any ID like Turbo C++ or any ID as you want, you can use. So here you can see like header file. So first of all, we have to import header file like conio.h, stdio.h. Then after that, void main is the entry point, and then you can write your variables, functions, and you can call your functions within the functions or based on your need, right? So this is the way to call C program, and you can write your C program under main below. So this C program doesn't have any security and reusability. The main problem is like security and reusability here, right? So how to provide security and reusability, I will show you with the help of object-oriented programming here, right? Now we have some drawback of the procedural language, and they do not provide the security and reusability. We already done, right? So to provide the security and reusability in app development has been introduced, that is object-oriented analysis or object-oriented programming system, OOA and OOPS. These very most important for us if you want to define any system engineer or related to the any designing system. We can say that like design pattern under any programming. So you have to analyze all the things, right? So here like object-oriented programming language. So CPP is the first object-oriented programming. Okay, as you know very well, like C++, CPP means C++. So C++ also having this object-oriented programming concept, but in C++ we have some drawback. I will show you. So first of all, we have to understand what is the procedural language. So under the C++ language, we have some drawback. So in object-oriented programming also like a program is a collection of the variables and function, then the members of the program must be enclosed under the special type of container, that is class. So if you want to write anything, so we have to encapsulate in particular container, that is called class. I will show you what is encapsulation, all the things. Okay, so which provide the security for the content that is present inside it, because it's a container. Okay, so that container having different types of data member and member functions. Okay, so under in it, like in container, so it's to provide the security, because we cannot expose all the data members or member function out of the class based on our access modifier. Let's say private, property, public, global. Okay, so here this is the object-oriented programming concept. Little bit here I will explain more about it here. So you can see procedural language, procedural program, and object-oriented program. So always remember, if you want to write anything under the procedural programming language, we have some members. So members is nothing but it's a like variables. Okay, so if you want to write like members like related to the variables as well functions under the procedural language program. And object-oriented program, we have like, let's say class. So under the class we have lots of members here, right? So under the members we can define members under the class, right? So here this is the one thing here. Okay, now let me show you these all things one by one here, right? So these members doesn't have any container, or these all members does have some container, that is called class. So class, here you can see like object-oriented program contain the class, under the class you can see like members, but here we cannot see anything related to the class, right? So here you can see like class. So what is class? So class is a user-defined types. Always remember, if you want to define anything under your program, so it's a user-defined type, not predefined, right? But let's say string class. So string is a data type. So data type is not invention you. Okay, so it's a provided by the any programming language, let's say like C, C++, Java, .NET, based on your programming approach. So you can see this one, right? But here now class is a user-defined data type, or we can say that blueprints that contain structure in our procedural language. The basic difference between the class and the structure. So structure is a procedural language, can contain only the variables. Always remember. So structure only contain the variables, not functions. where is a class contain variable as well as functions. So this is the main difference between the structure and the class. Okay, so here like C program. So why we are calling like C++? Let me open my notepad and let me show you what the reason behind this, right? So if you know like C language, okay, so C language, Dennis Ritchie, as you know very well, these all things, right? So invention, this C language. So C is very most popular language that days related to the system programming language. Google also using C language right now. If you want, if you see anywhere like system programming, you can see the C language everywhere, right? Then you can see like C++. So C++ is the extension of C language. Okay, so as you know, like increment and decrement operator, like plus plus or minus minus, pre-increment or post-increment, pre-decrement or post-decrement, based on your need. So same thing we can define, like let's say if you have some number, let's say I equal to 1, or say like integer type. Okay, if you define like integer I equal to 1, right? And then after that, if you define like I plus plus, so if you want to print this I value, next time it's a 2 automatically, because it's a pre-increment here, you can see. So this means, I will show you here, just focus on that. I plus plus means I equal to I plus 1. So if you have some I value 1, so 1 is coming automatically here, 1 plus 1 is 2. So now I value right now, you can see here 2. That's why. So C++ also C equal to C plus 1. Always remember. Okay. So it's a additional one thing, let's say plus 1. So plus means plus 1 means here, oops, we already added, developed by any like programming developer, like C and plus oops concept. That's why it's name called as a C++. Okay, so it's an increment only 1. So if you want to add something in particular languages, so it's a some increment in particular types, right? So here you can see C++ means C plus 1. So in C language, we have already added something that is called oops concept, and now it's called C++ language. That is the meaning of C++, right? Now here you can see like header file, as you know, like main is the entry point, and create the object of the class, and using object invoke the members of the class. We will see these all things, what is object and members in our object oriented programming. So first of all, let me finish these slides and then we will see practical. Okay, now here you can see C++ is not also object oriented programming language. Always remember, if you know this C, well and good, but it's a not pure object oriented programming language. Okay, as per the rules of the object oriented programming language, right, the code must be inside of the class. That is the meaning of object oriented programming language only. But in CCP, we never write the main function inside the class. Always remember. So first of all, you have to define the class, then you have to call the main method, and you can call that particular variables or data member or member function based on your need in C++. That is the main reason, or that is the main drawback of C++ language. That is called class doesn't have any main method. Okay, that's why main method is a separate. Okay, so under the C++, we have some drawback. So main method doesn't have any class, or the class doesn't contain any main method. So main method is separate always under these two programming, C and C++. That's why. Okay, so it's not pure object oriented programming language. So if you define any object oriented programming language, everything encapsulate in a single container, that is called class, right? So here, that is, here you can see the Java program, and we can, as you know very well, like Apex also similar to Java, as you know very well, these all things. So we have to define some class that is called class demo here, and class is a collection of the members, and static void main, this is the main entry point. Create the object of the class, and you can invoke the non-static members of the class, because static members we can directly access with the help of class name, you know very well, right? But if you know, if you don't know, so you can learn from here as well, because my intention is I will clear all the oops concept under this session. Okay, so using object invoke non-static members we can call, right? So if you have non-static method, so you can call with the help of object. object or instance, both are same, but we have some differences between them. So we will see later on, okay, in this session. So here, object-oriented programming. This is the main pillar in this session, that is called encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism, right? So these four pillars very most important in every programming language, not specific this language, that is called Apex. Okay, so we can implement these all pillar based on our requirement. Okay, so it's a approach, it's a kind of approach, or it's a design pattern, we can say that, and we can implement accordingly, right? So here, give me a second. Now we have number one point here under the object-oriented programming, that is called constructor. Okay, so it's a special type of method present under the class to responsible for initialize the variable of the class. Always remember that this is some property of the constructor. So without constructor, we cannot create the instance of that class, particular class, not like a ABC class, or you can take any class in this example as well, right? So the name of the constructor should be same as the class name. Always remember, no value return type of the method, it's always void, right? Each and every class required this constructor, because of without constructor, we cannot call any non-static data members, right? That's why we have some problem here, right? So now implicit defined constructor, that is called default constructor, are the parameterized constructor, or is a public. Always remember, so implicit defined constructor are public. Let me show you what is the constructor and all the thing. So let me open my org and let me open my developer console here. So once you open the developer console, so you have to write one program here. So how to write program? So most of the people know these things, how to create the Apex class using developer console. So just click this file, new, and create this Apex class here. And now like, oops, concept, something like that. You can give any name of the class, okay, but always give the meaningful name of the class. Okay, so oops, concept here. And now you can see this is my class is automatic created, and this is the structure of the our class. Okay, so suppose that I want to define some constructor under this class. So if you define any constructor in this class, well and good. Otherwise, by default, one constructor is automatically initialized here. I will prove that. Don't worry. So here, suppose that, let me share you like integer I, so like this one. So by default, if you don't initialize any variable of with any value, so Apex programming automatic initialize null value underneath it, as you know very well, right? So how to print this one? So you can take it here, let's say public void print method here. This is a print method here, and system.debug. I will show you all the things related to the constructor, so don't worry about it. Let me finish this part here first of all. So I want to print this I. So just use I, or you can concatenate any string with the help of this plus operator here, like this is something value like that. Okay, for demo purpose, let me remove this one here. Okay, directly I am using this I here. Just let me save this class, and let's see is anything is here or not in this I value. So how to call this class, and we can call and with the help of 9 ways under the Apex. Most of the people know these things. Okay, we can call this Apex class using anonymous window, Visual Force Space, Aura component, Lightning Web component, any web services, or any third external parties or external services. Okay, there are so many ways to call this Apex class, right? So for now, I'm using anonymous window. Just let me copy this class name here, and I want to call this method. So I will show you how to call this method like as a non-static method. So this right now this is the non-static method. So we can call non-static with the help of instance, right? So let me create the instance of this class like this. Okay, and here just focus on that. So in these two parts, like this one and this one, just focus. This is our class name. This is the object name, and with the help of new keyword we can create the object. Without new keyword or without this keyword we cannot create the instance, always remember. And now this part is a constructor, always remember. Okay, constructor is a very helpful for us if you want to create or if you want to initialize initialize the variable of the class, so you can use constructor, right? So here you can see this is the constructor and this is the class name and this is the object name and this is the new keyword to helping to create the instance using this keyword that is called new. Okay, so now how to call the method? So we can call this method using instance like opp dot, and now you can select print method here, right? So let me print this one and let's see anything is coming or not here. So now let me do that here and now click this debug only. As you know, now you can see the null value here. You can see why it is here like null values in the I, because I already told you if you don't initialize any variable with any value, so Apex framework automatic initialize null value under in. Always remember, right? This is the concept or this is the principle under this programming. So this constructor that is called explicitly defined here, that this constructor is an automatic call. It's implicit constructor, and implicit constructor is responsible to initialize this variable value as a null. That is the way to identify these all things. It's not magic like how to get these like null values every time here. Okay, it's not magic. So here this is the main concept behind the scene. Like if you want to see this like null value where it is coming here, so you can check these things with the help of this constructor. So this is the explicitly defined here, and this explicitly constructor is responsible to call its implicit constructor that is called defined here. It's internally defined here in this class, and that constructor is responsible to initialize this variable as a null because it's an integer I equal to something value. It's automatic initialize. Let me show you the behind the scene what is the meaning of under in it. So let me show you here. Okay, let me close this here. So internally one constructor is automatic called by that explicitly constructor like public, and copy this one and paste it here. Let's say this one, and after that I value is automatic initialize here like this dot I equal to null like this. This is the behind the scene under this programming. So this line of code is automatic execute internally, and now you can see the I value as a null here, right? So it's internally going on this one, right? So this is the constructor here, right? Now you can see that example. I already told you this example here. Okay, now you can see like defining and calling. We have like some approach under the object oriented programming that is called defining and calling here, right? So here now you can see like class demo and public demo and system dot explicitly constructor called, and here you can see defining and calling. There are two things under the programming language, right? So defining, it may be like implicit or explicit. Okay, defining, so you can define like explicit like this or implicit as we already done like some default constructor, right? And calling, always we call with the help of explicitly. This is the way to differentiate between defining and calling here, right? Now we have types of constructor. So we have like 3 types of constructor under this Apex object oriented programming language, like default or parameterless constructor. Second one, parameterized constructor and copy constructor, right? So here default or parameterless constructor. So default we already done, like one default constructor is automatic initialize every time once you create any instance of the class. So it's automatic initialize. Okay, parameterized, if you want to pass some parameter on that particular line that we already initialized and automatic created an instance of that class. So in this that time we can pass the parameter and we can initialize that. That is called parameterized constructor. Then we have like copy constructor. So here, so first of all, you can see here like default or parameter like parameterless constructor. So if you define some constructor, or let me remove this one here and just focus on that, like default constructor or parameterless constructor here, like public and you can use constructor name as a same as a class name, always remember. And this is a special type of method under the class, like system.debug. Under here you can select parameterless constructor called something like that, right? Let me save this and let's see what's happened. So if you want to create this class instance, so this class instance is an automatic initialize this constructor that is called parameterless constructor, because we don't have any parameter under this bracket. Just focus on that. This bracket doesn't have any parameter. That's why you can select parameterless constructor here, right? So how to call that? So same thing, just remove this line and create like class name, then object name equal to new, and then after that constructor. So you can just focus on this line here, just focus this and this line, this one, it's an equality operation between them, equality. This is a equal to here because it doesn't have any parameter, it also doesn't have any parameter. That's why this time it's the automatic call this one, right? So let me execute and let's see. So let me execute here and let me click on debug only, and now you can see, just focus on that. That is called parameterless constructor called here, right? So this is the default or parameterless constructor. How to define like parameterized constructor? So very simple, just here you can see no parameter, right? So we have to define like this public, then you can use this one, and here I now I have one parameter that is called integer here, and I want to print this integer here. So how to print? Like system.debug and I value, right? Under this system.debug we can define like this one. Okay, so how to call this like parameterized constructor? So this is a parameterless. Let me add some comments like parameterless constructor, right? And here parameterized. Okay, here constructor. Okay, so here you can see like one parameter, and this is the 0 parameter. I will show you the constructor overloading at the time of polymorphism, right? So just focus on the initially value here, right? So now here you can see this one that is called one parameter here. Let me call this one. So first time it's calling this one that is called parameterless. Now this time I want to define another instance of this class. Let's say this one, like OPP1, and I want to pass something here. Let's say 10, right? And just focus on that. This is a 0 parameter, right? So it's a call automatic this one. It's having one parameter, so it's automatic call this one that is called one parameter here. So just focus on that. Let me execute and let's see. So once you execute this one here and click on this debug only, now you can see like parameterless constructor and 10 here, right? So this is the 10 value here, right? So here this is a one parameter and this is the 0 parameter. Now let me come down here, like parameter constructor. So we already done this example here, like parameter. If a constructor method is defined with parameter, we can call it as a parameter constructor. Those constructor can be defined by the developer because it's a developer responsibility to define this constructor as a explicitly. Okay, this is the explicitly constructor here. So we can call and we can pass the value based on our need. Like let's say 10, 20 based on your instance. So you can print like this. Okay, now we have like copy constructor. So what do we mean by the copy constructor? So here you can select if you want to create multiple instance with the same value, like in previous value, you can see here, if you want to create multiple instance like D1 and D2, we have multiple instance with different value. Okay, so if you want to create multiple instance with the same value, like let's say I want to pass only 10. So every time if you want to create n number of instance of that particular class, so it's a print only 10 numbers. Okay, because it's a copy constructor. So copy constructor create multiple instance with the same value, then we can use copy constructor here. So just focus on that here in this example, right? So now here we have like integer I, right? Copy constructor. Under this copy constructor, we have one variable that is called I here, and this is the one parameter that is called integer X, and this is a copy constructor. Now here in this copy constructor, I already pass as a class as a parameter here. Just focus on that, this one, right? Under here, if you want to access any class value, so we can use this dot I. I means this current variable. This means this current variable. Reference this current I value equal to CO. CO means this current parameter here. CO dot I. I means class variable here. So we can pass as a class parameter under this constructor. That's why it's called copy constructor. Now we have like one method like display, and I want to call, or I want to print this I value here. So now in this right panel, you can see like copy. Okay, copy constructor con 1 equal to new copy constructor. I just pass this 10 and I want to call this method that is called display. So now under the display, you can see only 10 value here because we already passed 10 value here. Now in second line, just focus on that. Constructor 2 equal to new copy constructor con 1. So I just pass this first constructor, or we can say that this first instance under this constructor parameter. That's why it's automatic print this 10 value again and again. That is called copy constructor. So let me show you this one as well. Okay. So in this example here, okay, so let me open this class here and let me remove everything from here, and let me define one variable. Okay, that's an integer I equals to, or just don't define anything because I want to print this I as well here, right? Now public, and you can use this class name as a constructor name, as you know very well. Under here, I want to call like this dot I, or we can initialize with the help of this one. Here you can see this dot I equal to some parameter. So I just want to I want to pass some parameter under here. Let's say integer X. And if you want to access any class variable, so we can use this keyword. So this is reference this current class variable. So this dot I equals to X. If you want to access this parameter and this this variable as well here with the help of this here to here, right? Now I want to define another constructor, and this constructor right now is taking the class name as a reference like OPP. Okay, here. And now finally, if you want to access this value here, now you can see like this dot I, this dot I, this current class variable CO dot I. So how to use that? I will show you here. Like this dot I equals to OOP dot. If you want to print like I, so we can use I here. So I already use I, so we can use I here. Just save this, and now here just saving, no error. And now let me define one display method here. Okay, to print method, like print method to display the I value, like public void, and then you can use like method 1. Okay, so you can use like this. After that, like system dot debug, you can print I value here. Okay, so how to use and how to call this class, you know very well. First of all, we have to create the instance because it's a non-static variable. So here I created here, that is called one instance of this class, and we have to pass one parameter or one value here, let's say 100. Now next time if you want to create another instance of this class, so this time we don't need worry about every time you have to pass your value. So you can pass your instance as a reference variable under here. Okay, now this is the 1. Okay, so this time it will be like in 2 places we can see like 100 because it's a copy constructor. So we just copy one value into the another another place. So how to execute? Let me execute and let's see. 100 is printing into 2 times here. Okay, now let me click on this debug only, and there is no calling of the method. Why? Because I forget that to call the method. So let me call the method. So we can call with the help of display method each and every look like method one, each and every instance. So like opp dot method one, this one. Okay, so just copy and paste it here. And again, you have to call this method one like opp1 dot method. Okay, so method one, and now this one, and click on this execute button. In this time, you can see 100 two times. Why? Because it's a copy constructor. Okay, in two places you can see the same value. Just click on this debug only, and now you can see 100 in two places. So one place is I already passed as 100, and now second time I just use this reference into the that particular second instance. That's why you can see the same value here, 100. Okay, so this is the copy constructor. Now let me show you why constructor are needed in our class. So implicit constructor of a class will initialize the variable of the class with the same value even if we create multiple instances of the class. So just focus on that. So here you can see in this demo, we have like integer x is equal to 10. And this is the display method to print this x value. Now, if you want to create instance of this class, like I already created 3 instances like x1, x2, and x3, and I want to print this x value. So you can see each and every instance memory location. You can see like x1, x2, and x3 value 10, 10. Because it's the same memory location for each and every instance. That is called shareable memory. Okay, so that time we have to create the instance, or we have to need to create the constructor of this class. Okay, now you can see if you don't define anything, like let's say I want to print different types of value again and again. Now you can pass the different value again and again, and now you can see like d1 and d2, d3, we have different value. We already provided here. You can see in this example. Okay, now you can see like variable, instance, and reference of the class. So we have like variable of the class, instance of the class, and reference of the class. So just focus on that. Okay, key points of the class. So point to we remember, every class is a data type. Already know this is the very most important point here. Like class is a user defined type. We cannot use the class directly. Okay, if you want to use or if you want to consume any class, so we cannot use directly like class in every programming here. So in this, suppose that if you define something like integer equal to 100. So integer is nothing but it's a plan of your house. Okay, if you want to make your house, so first of all you have to create your plan. That is called some map, right? And this is you, like 100 is you. And now you cannot live directly into the plan. That is the main problem of this one. That's why variables come to the picture. So here this is an invalid statement. Now under here, like integer I equals to 100. So integer is nothing but it's a plan of your house, and I is the constructed house, and 100 means you. So 100 value can be stored under the I, because I is the constructed house. So memory is nothing but it's a house. Okay, so we can store this 100 value under this I variable, and it's a like this is the integer is a plan of the house. So we can store this 100 value under this I. That is called our house. So you can, if you have some house, so you can live under in it, right? So without house or without map, you cannot write, or we can not live under the plan. So we have to construct everything from the scratch. That's why. Okay, so now you can see like variable of the class. So a variable is nothing but it's a copy of the class that is not initialized. So we can initialize with the help of new keyword. If you want to initialize anything like related to the instance or non-static, so based on the instance we can initialize this one, like first f1 equal to new first. So f1 is the instance of the class, or we can use like this first f1. This is f1 is a variable right now, not instance, because it's a variable, non-initialized copy of the variable class. Here you can see, and f1 equals to new first. So f1 is an instance of this class. So we can initialize the instance like this. So there are two ways. This is the industry level purpose. So we can initialize in the same line, but here you can see like declaration and initialization in separate line. That's why. So first time like first f1, if you have some variable that is called f. So I already use like f1. So just focus on this is the f1 for now. First time is the null, And if you want to pass something under this variable, so now right time you can see here 100 value. So I already print something, so that's why you can see like 100 here. Now you can select instance of the class. So instance is nothing but it's a copy of the class that is initialized using new keyword. Okay, so every time if you want to create n number of instance, so n number of memory is located in particular heap based on your like static or non-static variable. Okay, so static variable always take the memory as the class loading time, but non-static, that is called without static keyword, if you define something, so that variable is a initialized at the time of instance creation, like new keyword, and it's stored into the heap memory. Okay, not like a stack, as you know, like a stack and queue. So based on the data structure, we can separate and we can segregate these all things, right? So now in this example, you can select demo integer x equals to 100. So this is a non-static variable. Here you can see. So we can access this static non-static variable with the help of instance. So here you can select demo f1 equal to new demo, demo f2 equal to like new demo. So we have two instance like f1 and f2. This is the separate memory location. Just focus on that. Okay. So f1 and f2 is the separate memory under the heap. So under here, if you want to print this f1.x, any variable of the class, so you can use dot operator like instance dot, then your variable name. So f1.x means this is the current variable of this class. So now you can select 100 and 100 in the same time. Okay, if you change something like f1.x equals to 200, next time you can select 200 and 100 in this area, because I already changed here, replace the previous value and now put new value under in it. Here you can select 200 again, like f2 and f2.x equals to 300. Previously it's a 200, so it's a 200 here. Now new value, previously 100, now you can select 300 here. So in this example, you can easily understand here memory location. So first time we have two value like x f1 having two value like 100. If you want to change this value like 100, you can see in this here, right? Same thing you can apply for f2, same thing here you can see. So this is all like instance of this class. So now let me reference of the class. So what is reference of the class? So a copy of the class initialized using existing instance. It is not take memory place and it's jump pointing to the instance. Just focus on that. Reference doesn't contain any memory because it's a depends on the instance. Okay, so suppose that I already defined one example here. Let's say demo. Under this demo, you can see integer equal x equals to some value that is called 100. Now just focus on that. Demo f1 equal to new demo, and I already use here like second instance that is called demo f2 equal to f1. So f2 is a reference of the class. Just focus on that because it's a not initialized using new keyword. That's why it's a reference variable here. So reference just pointing to the instance. So f1 already initialized with the help of new keyword, and now f2 equals to f1. So here in this diagram you can see, so a reference having some shareable memory in particular instance. So you can see like f1 having 100 value first time. So f2 also having the same memory that is called 100. Same thing if you want to change something like f1.x, so it's a automatic reflect in both of places. You can select 200. Now same thing if you want to again change this x value, so you can select 300 in both places like f1 and f2. This is the same memory location because it's a reference. Okay, now here like static variable or static block or static method. What is this? So static variable, here you can see static variable always use or always initialize at the class loading time. During the load the time of the class, it should be accessible by the class name. So suppose that if you want to access, this is the non-static. Here you can select public integer x is equals to 100. So this is the non-static variable because we don't have any static keyword here. If you see anywhere like public static string name equals to some name, so that is called a static variable. So we can access this static variable with the help of class name. I will show you here how to use that. So under here, let me close these all logs. Okay. So let me remove all the things from here to here. Okay. And now let me use like public here, public static. Okay. And let's say name, or first of all, you have to define which type of data type you want to use. Like let's say string name or some name that is called my name here. Okay. And how to use that? So you can use this static variable with the help of class name. So how to use that? Let me show you here. Open the anonymous window, remove all the things, just use the class name here, just copy this class name, and you can create the instance like opp equals to new, and this that is called class, and this is the constructor right now. And if you want to use this variable under this anonymous window, so you can use, or if you want to print this one, so you can print with the help of dot operator like system dot debug, and I want to use that string variable that is called static variable like name under this anonymous window. So how to use that? So this is the first way, like here, and you can use like this one, like class name and then dot operator, and you can use this name here. This is the way to call a static variable under the anywhere as you want with the help of you can create the instance as well. Okay, because if you want to use this instance as a name here, we cannot use because it's a non-static variable. If you want to initialize or if you want to use that time, we cannot use directly here. So we can use like this with the help of class name. We can access the name because it's a static. So static always use with the help of class name. So let me execute and let's see what's happened here. So let me execute here and click on this debug only. Now you can see my name here, Rohit, right? Now this is the static. Now static block. So static block always execute or implicitly called. It's a very most important block, and it's a automatic initialize at the time of class loading is the first block of the programming. Okay, it's a automatic initialize before the constructor as well. So I will prove that here. So let me create the static block. So if you don't know what is a static block, so here you can see, like if you want to define any static block, just use the static keyword here, like static, and you can define the body like this. So this is the static block. So if you want to print something here, let's say system.debug, and I am static block, something like that, right? And let me save this and let's see. So this is the first block of this class. Okay, so how to call this one? So you can call, if you want to create the instance of this class, let me show you here. Let's say this one opp goes to new, and this one like this, and let me execute. Now you can see static block is execute. Now I will show you the differences between constructor and static, because static always the first, always remember. Let me show you, and here you can see the execution. Let me debug. Now you can see that I'm a static block here, right? Now let me define one constructor here, and it should be like a public, and just copy here this one, and after that you can see this constructor. Let me copy this statement and let me change this statement with like here, just focus on that, just remove this one, like I am constructor, something like that. Okay, just focus on that. So here you can see like static block, this is a constructor. So first of all, which one is execute first? So static block always execute first. Okay, I will prove that. I will prove this one. Okay, so just here execute, and here under the debug, click on this debug only. Now you can see like I'm a static block, I'm a like constructor. And if you don't know, or if you have some doubt under this one, because it's a first written here and it's a second written here, that's why you can see every time static always. So just you can cut this one and you can print after this this line of code here. And if you want to save this, so you can save like this, and after that here. Okay, so once you save this, again what we need to do, so you have to execute this class again. So let me execute. So here, once you execute, now you can see every time static block is execute here, every time is the first. You can see like I am a static block and I am a constructor. This is the law. Okay, so this is the one thing from here. Okay, now static method. So you can call the static method with the help of class name as well, because we have less time. So let me come to the my main topic, that is called this one, inheritance Okay, so inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation, everything I will show you here. So before starting this one, so just focus on that. So if you want to achieve something, let's say like concept like abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, right? So you can use, like if you want to use like abstraction, so how to achieve this abstraction? So we can use like interface. So using interfaces we can achieve abstraction. Encapsulation, so apex class provide encapsulation things. Polymorphism, having overloading and overriding. Okay, now you can see like inheritance. So inheritance always provide the reusability and security. Okay, so if you want to achieve these all things, so you can implement these all things. So I will show you one by one here, right? So inheritance. So inheritance is a mechanism to consuming the member of one class into the another class by establishing parent class child relationship between the classes, provided you reusability. So here in this diagram you can see like class 1 and class 2, right? So if you want to use any member of this class, that is called class 1, in second class, so we have to make one relationship between these two classes here, right? That is called parent child relationship. Okay, so how to achieve that I will show you here. So now let me click. Now you can see I have already like class A and class B. Just focus on that. Class A having some members. Members is nothing but data members or member function. So data members is a variables. We consider variables, and member function is nothing but is a methods. Okay, so if you want to consume this class data members in this second class, that is called class B, so you can use this keyword that is called extends. Okay, so you can use extends here. So all the member of this class is an automatic copy into this class, that is called class B. That is the meaning of this inheritance, and you can consuming the member of the class A from here. And parent class, base class, and super class, these all terms are same. Child class, derived class, and subclass, these all are same here. Just focus on that. Class A and class B, this is the base class and this is the derived class. We can say that as well here. Okay, so we can achieve with the help of inheritance reusability. Okay, so we have some rules under the inheritance, that is called parent class constructor must be accessible to the class child class, otherwise inheritance not possible. I will show you this one. So let me create two class here. One is a parent, second one is a child. So here let's say parent. Okay, parent CLS, you can define like CLS. Let me copy this, let me create this class like this, and again I want to create new class as well, like child CLS. Okay, and click on this OK button. Once you create these two class, let me define one constructor here, because you know very well constructor, right? We already talk about these whole things. So public, after that you can select class name, and then you can define the constructor. So system dot debug, like I am child class constructor, something like that. Okay, so let me save this. And again, how to use this class into, or sorry, you can use this statement under the parent as well. So based on your need, so you can do that. So how to do that? Let me remove this one first of all, or let me define these all things here like this. Let me define, because I need to provide this multi-level inheritance, that's why. Okay, so you can use like parent this, and you can change like parent. Okay, parent class constructor. Let me save this, and once you save this, we will get some error after some time. So if you want to use this parent CLS under this class, so you can use this keyword that is called extend, and after that you can give this class name. If you want to use any class reference or any class data member or member function in another class with the help of extend keyword, that's why inheritance comes into the picture here. Okay, so first of all, let me remove all the things. Let's say this one, and let's say this one, and now let me define one method, public void, and like get data, something like that. Okay, so under this get data, system dot debug, and let's say I am parent method, something like that. Okay, so I want to use these two methods under this class. So how to use that? So first of all, let me remove this one and I will show you here. Let me save this. Okay, so I want to use this one constructor and one is a method. So I want to use first of all methods. Okay, so let me remove this like as a method one. This is a method one and this is method two. I want to use these two methods under this class that is called child CLS. So how to use that? So one of the like mistake of all the programmers, no, most of the all the program did not do these things. So right now you can just focus on that here. Let's say for public void, it's showing some error because it's a constructor, so that's why. So like public void method one, I want to use these two methods that is called method one and method two under the class. So how to use that? So one way is, this is a traditional way, like just copy these two methods and you can print under here. Okay, so it's a rewriting the code, it's a not reusability, right? You know very well these all things. So if you want to use these two methods, let's say method one and method two under the class child class, this one, so this is a not reusability, this is the code duplication. Let's say rewrite the code again and again, so it's a not provide the reusability. So overcome this problem, the inheritance comes into the picture right now. So how to use the inheritance? So you can use like extends, and then you can use this class name like this here. And once you use this class name, that two methods that is called method one and method two automatic comes here. I will prove that. So it's showing me some error. So what is the error? Let me show you here. Under this bottom, you can see under the problem tab, non-virtual and non-abstract type cannot be extended parent class. So we cannot define directly class this one. If you define inheritance between the classes, so you can define the class as a virtual. So public, so you have to use here like virtual, and let's see virtual. And after that you have to define virtual class content only virtual method. You know very well. Let me save this, and it's again it's showing me some error. So right now you can see it's automatic remove all the error, because virtual class content the methods as a non-virtual, like we can say that virtual as well. Okay, you can see here. So it's a automatic saved. It's a like here, if you want to access these two methods under this class, okay, so how to use that? So you can use here like this. So now it's time to do what? How to print these two methods, because it's already defined under the parent class. Now I want to create the child instance. So how to call that method? Because it's defined it by under the parent. So it's with the help of inheritance we can perform this one. So how to use that? So just create the child class instance here. Child class instance, that is all child C1 equals to new this one, right? Once you create the instance, and if you want to call that method, that is called method one and method two. So how to call? Just copy this method name and you can call with the help of instance like C1 this method, and again like C1 method 2 this one. And these two methods defined by in this class that is called parent CLS, but doesn't have anything here because of with the help of extend keyword that is called inheritance. With the help of inheritance we can use these two methods under this class, and we can call with the help of child class instance here. Just click on this execute, and now you can see the output here. Okay, so once you click this output here, and let me click this debug only, see like I am a parent class sorry, let me change this sentence so you can easily understand what is method here. Okay, I am parent class method 1 and I am class method 2. Okay, now let me execute again and let's see. Okay, so here let me execute again and let's see what's happened here. Okay, so you can use these two methods under the child class. Now you can see I'm a class parent class method 1 and I'm a parent class method 2. You can see these two methods doesn't define under here. You can see under the child class. So if you want to define any child class method, so you can also define here, let's say public void or method 3. Okay, just focus on that. Under this method 3 you can see like system.debug like method 3 under the child class. This is the child class. So you can access this method 3 with the help of instance. So how to do that? Just here like C1 dot method 3 also used like this. So you can call parent class method as well child class method with the help of inheritance here. So let me execute and let's see here. So once you execute in this debug only, now you can see method 1, method 2 parent, method 3 under the child class. Here you can see same thing you can apply for the constructor as well, right? So parent class constructor must be public. Without public we cannot perform the inheritance. Let me show you this point here. So let me remove these all things. Okay, and here also this one. Suppose I want to define here, let's say public, right? And then after that, this is the child class now, so no need worry about this child class. And let me copy this parent constructor name here. If you don't define anything here, so Apex class or Apex framework is automatic recognize this is the private. Okay, so first of all we have to define public access specifier modifier. Both are same, but based on the programming language we can say that this is the terminology. Okay, so public like parent CLS. After that you can see here like system.debug, and now you can define like I am parent class constructor. Okay, like this constructor. Okay, let me save this, and now I want to create another constructor under this class that is called child class. Let me copy this name here, and after that like system.debug like I am child class constructor, right? Like this. And how to call this class? So you can call with the help of instances. So if you create the instance of this class that is called child class, okay, and if you want to call that is called call this instance like C1, so it's an automatic initialize or automatic call child class constructor, that is called this one, and this child class constructor is a responsible to call first parent class constructor. So come to the parent class constructor. So first of all, this is the first line you will be see in this example, like first of all print like I am a parent class constructor. Second time you can see second line like I am a child class constructor. Why? Because child class constructor always responsible to call the parent class constructor first. This is the rule of the inheritance. So let me execute and let's see here. Okay, so just execute here and click on this debug only, and now you can see I am a parent class constructor, I am a child class constructor. That's why you can see this. I will show you here one problem. What problem? If you define any constructor as a private, as a parent class constructor as a private, so inheritance is not possible. That is the rule. So let me save this and let me execute an unused window, and this time I will get some error, accessibility error. So here you can see dependent class is invalid, needs recompilation, this method is not visible, like this. So if you define private, any constructor as a private under the parent class, so inheritance is not possible. So always remember, parent class constructor must be public. Always remember. So you have to define public keyword here. That is the law under the inheritance here, right? So public this one, and you can access this one, right? This is the one way. Inheritance, here you can see like inheritance child class can access the member of the parent class, but parent class can never access any member of the child class. Always remember. So in this example you can see I just call this one like C1 means child class. So child class can accessible itself all the members of this class as well as parent class, but parent class doesn't need anything to the call the child class data members. That is the meaning of inheritance. So if you want to create let's say let me create the instance of this parent class, and once you click create the parent class like P1 equals to new this one, so you can call only this constructor or anything defined in this class only with the help of P1. You cannot call this child class methods or something like that, because parent class always is separate. And if you have some child class, so child class is always responsible to call itself members as well parent class members. This is the rules of the inheritance. Okay. Now we can initialize a parent class variable by using child class instance. Okay, so we can initialize the variable of the parent class by using child class instance. So suppose that if you have some variables under this class, so you can initialize with the help of child class instance. Okay, so we can initialize with the help of child class instance. Make it as a reference, but in this case, we cannot call the purely child class member of this reference. And suppose every class, always remember, every class that is defined by us or you predefined of the language has a default parent class that is called object. So object is the parent of all the classes or all the data type. Always remember. So the object is a god for this programming language. Okay. So now you can see like types of inheritance. So we have like single, like 5 types of inheritance here, like single level, like single, multi-level, hierarchy inheritance, hybrid, and multiple level. So single level we can perform. Okay, multi-level we can perform also. Same thing, we can already done this for single level. If you have multiple classes like ABC or XYZ class, so you can we can call like multi-level. If you have like one class, one parent have multiple child, so we can call hierarchy. If you have hybrid, so hybrid is nothing but it's a combination of two, anything like multi-level as well hierarchical, or single level or as well multi-level. That is called hybrid. Hybrid is the collection of two anything like single or multi-level, multi-level or hierarchy or single. Okay, now you can see like multiple. So multiple inheritance not possible under the Apex. Okay, like one child have two parents, so it's not possible. Okay, in real world also. Okay, so don't worry about these things. So it's happen in real time as well. Okay, so now you can see like single, multi-level, hierarchy, hybrid, and multiple. These types of inheritance available in this Apex or any programming. Right now, this is the very most important concept like polymorphism. So polymorphism is nothing but one name or more form. One name we can perform multiple form. So behaving in different ways to depends upon the input received is called as a polymorphism. That is, whenever in the input change, it's automatic output and behavior also changed. So we can achieve polymorphism with the help of two things. One is overloading, method overloading, and method overriding. Okay, I will show you like same thing like method constructor overloading, constructor overriding here. So you can see like types of polymorphism here. So polymorphism, we have two types like static, compile time polymorphism, or early binding. These all same. Now dynamic binding, that is called runtime polymorphism or late binding. Okay, so here in this diagram you can easily understand polymorphism, static or compile time, dynamic or runtime. So static or compile time we can achieve with the help of method overloading or operator overloading. Okay, so operator overloading concept is not here in this demo. Okay, now you can see this method overloading and method overriding, these two things here. Right now in this area, let me show you like method overloading. So this is an approach allow to multiple method with same name and different parameters or number of parameter or types of parameter input change. So based on the parameter here, okay, so based on the parameter we can perform the method overloading with the same name and different parameters. So how to achieve? Let's say here in this class, let me define one other class. Let's say poly demo, something like that. Okay, under this poly demo we have to define some methods like this public void or method, like this method. Okay, under this method this is a zero parameter that is called system dot debug, debug, and this is a zero parameter because it doesn't have any parameter, zero param. Just try to understand here, right? Zero parameter. Again, you have to use this method again and again based on your inputs, based on your parameter. Let's say I have one parameter. Let's say integer I. So we can say that it's a one parameter, one param. Okay, same thing you can define multiple time based on your need. That is called method overloading. Multiple method with same name and different parameter. That is the meaning of method loading. So it's an integer, or we can take it like string here, string name and comma let's say boolean bool, something like that, or we say 2 parameter, we can say that. Okay, so let me save this class and let's see here. Okay, so you just observe here, we have multiple method, like this is the one method, this is the second method, this is the third method with the same name, method, method, and method with different parameter. You can see 0 parameter, 1 parameter, and second parameter based on your need. So you can define, that is the meaning of method overloading here, right? Now how to call this class? So you know very well, just create the instance of this class like this, p1 equal to new, then this one, and save this and click on this execute button. So this time which method is called? So based on this parameter, let's say p1 dot like method, I want to call this method, and based on this parameter we can easily understand which method is automatic called here. So now you can see this is the 0 parameter, that time this time you can see here 0 parameter, and it's print, it will be print like 0 param here, right? So I will show you one by one here. Let's say p1 dot method, and you have to pass like second, so it's an integer, so this time it will be called here, right? Now p1 dot method, now it's time take like 2 parameters, first is a string, okay, now second is a boolean, so you can pass like as a true here. And now let me execute, and after that you can see this execution on all the things here, all the outputs. Now let me execute and click on this debug, and after that you can see like 0 param, 1 param, 1 like 2 param based on your need. So you can pass like one method multiple things here, that is called one name more form, that is called polymorphism. Okay, real time you can see the like most of the people use like smartphone, right? So every smartphone have some like adapter, AC adapter, right? So AC adapter having some USB, so that adapter can be accessible any type of like we can say the cell phone. Okay, this is the one that is called we can say that reusability things. So this is the one example under the polymorphism. So based on your inputs or based on your output, so you will be get these all things, right? So here and here, let me show you like method overloading. So it's an approach to re-implement parent class method under the child class with the same signature. This is the rule of method overriding. So method overriding means if you have some method, okay, under the parent, and if you want to, and child is suppose first of all, let me explain this real-time example. Let's say you have one birthday, like your birthday or my birthday. I'm not satisfied my like my birthday gift. My parents already given me like that, so I'm not satisfied that birthday gift. So how to do that? So how to satisfy and how to make this satisfy that particular gift? So you can make it like first way. I want to take this gift and return into the shop, and you can change this gift based on your need, right? So this is the one way, that is called re-implementation. Okay, so you can implement under this programming approach as well. So like re-implement parent class method under the child class. If child is not satisfied in that particular method, so child class is responsible to re-implement that particular method under the child. Okay, I will show you with practically, so don't worry about that. So here the main difference between the overloading and overriding, just focus on that. I can see all the question regarding this one, so you can learn from here as well, like overloading and overriding. So in this case, in this overloading case, right, overloading case here, like in this case, we define multiple methods with the same name by changing their parameters. This can be performed either within the class as well as parent child class also. Focus on that overloading. But in the overriding, in case we define multiple methods with the same name, same parameter, this can be performed only between parent child class, not separate class. Always remember. Okay, so we can perform only between the child class, can be never be performed within the same class. Always remember. So it's always comes right parent child, not same class. This is the main difference. Right now, let me click here. Now we have some example regarding the that is called overriding. So how to do that? Just focus on that here. Okay, in this area or in this, I have this parent class, and I have another child class. So under the parent class, I have virtual method, because like virtual class contain this virtual method as well, non-virtual method. Okay, that's why. So just focus on that. This virtual method that is called test, parent test class called, and this is a normal method. Here you can see this is the parent class so method. I just use extend keyword. We already know about this extend, right? So this is the inheritance. So I just use these all property that is called define here test, and so under this class that is called child. Under this child, you can select so method and so integer here. So child class is not satisfy this method under the parent. So child class is responsible to re-implement that class methods. So here you can select so in here you can select integer 1, like integer I, and you can print like so method overloading in the integer. Now you can see in 2 parameters. Now here this is the main concept of overloading. Here you can see like 0 parameter. Here also you can see like 0 parameter. Now you can see the virtual keyword here. Now you can see the override keyword. So we can achieve method overriding with the help of override keywords. Okay, override keyword, not keywords. Okay, so here you can see like override keyword, right? So based on this virtual method, we can override this virtual method under the child. You can see. So this time you will be see like child test class method called because of, let me show you and just focus on that. Okay, with practical. Here I already created like parent child class here, just focus on that, right? So let me remove this one as well, this constructor. Under this class, let me define one method like public and virtual. Okay, virtual, and this virtual method, and let's say public virtual. So virtual, not this one, virtual, and you can define like public virtual and is no return type based on your need, like test here. Okay, so here under here like system.debug, and you can print like parent class method. Okay, method. So here parent class method, right? Parent class test method. This is the meaningful like test method, right? Just save it. So first of all, let me save this class, and after that here just focus on this one. And now let me define this same method like public, just focus on that public, and like let's say void test, and here under this test, and let's say system.debug like test method under child class. Okay, so how to call this one I will show you here. Okay, just save this one and let me remove this first of all, this extend keywords here. Okay, so first of all save this class, child class, and let me show you before overriding what happened. So I want to call this method that is called test method, so you can call with the help of parent class instance. So like p1 equals to new this one, and like p1 not c1, p1 dot and test. Okay, so this time it will be called, that is called parent class method. Let me execute and let's see here. So once you execute here, click on debug only. Now you can see like parent class method called, right? Now I want to create the instance of child class. So now let me create the instance of child class c1, new this one, and after that c1 dot test. Okay, and now you can see both method parent and child class one by one here, right? So now you can see debug only. Now you can see like parent class class test method under the child class. Okay, so you can see one by one here, but I want to override this parent class method under the child. So how to do that? So you can override with the help of this virtual keyword as well override keyword. So how to define that? So first of all, let me extend, because I need that method in this class that is called child class from parent. So how to do that? Extend and then parent, or instead of typing you can just copy and paste, because it's making some here, just here, paste it here, and let me use like override keyword here, override, and save it. Okay, so let me save it here. Once you save it, just focus on that. Previously you can see like both methods, like parent class and child class method, right? Now you can you can call this child c1.test method. So this time, and before that, let me show you the clarity picture of this one. And also you can remove this one. Just let me save this. And now you can see before this one, let me save and let me execute here. And once you execute this one, just click on debug. Now you can see like parent test method under the child, right? So you can call this test method here as well, or you can create the instance of that class that is called parent class, and you can call this parent class method under here. So how to override this one? That is called same method, okay, and same parameter as well. So you can write like this, and you can use extend here, like extend, and which class? This class. And you have to use like this override. And before that, let me show you again. This time must be show here like parent class. Okay, I will show you the overriding. So here you can see like let me remove this virtual as well. Just save it, because if you define any method as a virtual, so it must be override in particular child class. That is the meaning of this virtual. Again, non-static or static. Okay, so you can remove the virtual as well here. And also let me save this, and let's see. So once you save this class, now you can see it's saved. And now I want to call that test method, this test method under this class. So how to call? So first of all, let me show you here. Let me show you here extend and test class. So which one is called? So first of all, priority always goes to the local. Okay, that's why you can see every time this child class, something like that. So let me comment out here, right, and save it. And I will call this test method here with the help of child class instance. Okay, so here what is non-static, and also this one. Okay, public is static, maybe make the public static. Save this, or this is the virtual, because it's a must be virtual if you want to perform any inheritance. Okay, so you can use virtual as well here. So just let me save this, and let's see this error will be gone or not. Okay, so just save it here, and now let's see it's working or not. So you can see like saving is going on. Now saved. Now let me execute this method. And once you execute this method, so you can select parent class test method. So let me do that. Here you can select parent class test method, right? Now I want to override that method under my child class. Okay, so how to do that? Let me uncheck this one here. And how to override that? So you can override with the help of, first of all, you have to define your method as a virtual. These are key points. Okay, so always remember, if you override parent class method under the child class method, so always use like virtual keyword here, and here you can use override here as well, like override. So here it's showing like virtual void test, and here let me save this, and let's see it's working or not. So let me save this. Okay, so it's showing like a child class. First of all, we have to use like save this first of all, like public virtual. Yeah, it's saved right now. Again, you have to save this one like child class here. So once you save, now it's time to do what? You can see once you create the instance of this child class. So this time you will be see this test method under the child, because it's having same method under the parent. You can see like test under test here, right? So this time you can see like test method under the child. So let me execute, and let's see here. So let me execute here. Click on this debug. Now you can see test method under the child. That is called method overriding. So you have multiple methods, so you can do like this. Okay, so this is the method overriding. So now you can see like abstract class and method. So abstract class or abstract method, a method without any method body is known as abstract method. or abstract class, a abstract class with contain any abstract method in it, that is called abstract class. Okay, so suppose here in this example you can see like ABS class. So this is abstract class. So how to define the abstract class? So first of all you have to use like public abstract class and then class name, and you have to define like abstract method. So this is the abstract method without any body. You can see this is the method without any method body. So how to define this one? So you can use this one. Let's say, let me create new class for better understanding, like ABS CLS or ABS class. Just use this ABS class here, right? And this class must be as a like abstract keyword. You can use public abstract class ABC class like this. And after that, in this class content only that is called abstract method. So how to define abstract method? You can use public, then abstract here, and void get name, something like that. And this is the like only defining a method, not method body. So it doesn't contain any method body. That is the meaning of abstract method here, right? So this is the like this one. I have another ABS child class, and I want to use this method under the child class. So how to use that? Again, let me create new class like ABS child, something like that. Okay. And once you click this OK, again you have to do what? Inheritance. So inheritance very most important, like extend keywords. With the help of extend keyword, we can achieve inheritance. So you can use like this abstract, and you can like use like this here, right? And after that, you can implement this method that is called get name under this child. So how to do that? Simple, just public. You can use this public, and you can use override keyword because it's abstract, right? So always use public override, then void get name. This method should be same here to here. Just copy and paste here, this one. And after that, just print like system.debug. Let's say I am get method. Just save it and let's see what's happened. So first of all, you have to save, and now no problem here. And let me create the instance of this class that is called ABS child. And now you can see these all things here, right? So A1 equals to new this child here. And after that, like A1 dot, you can use the get name here. This one, this is the abstract method. And now let me call this abstract method here. And now you can see this one here. Just click on the debug only. Now you can select I am a get method. So you can use abstract method, abstract class like this. So here the example you can see in my slide here. Okay, this is a basic example because this session and this session purpose is like only understand the OOPS concept, object oriented programming system concept, right? So you can easily understand one by one, like here I already showing this whole thing, but now you can see and try to understand these all things, small thing, because if you don't know these small things, so how can build your big program, or we can say the large program, all right? So everything comes from small things. So if you know the basics, so you can grow. Okay, so here like interface. So this is the last pillar under this object oriented programming, that is called interface. So interface contain only abstract method, always remember, and never create of the interface. This is the hardcore rule. Okay, because we cannot create the instance of the interface, always remember. And content only the abstract method. So abstract method means method without method body. That is the meaning of abstract method. Okay, now you can see this example like public interface, and always remember, if you define any interface, so this is the best practice or industry level purpose, you can see I. So prefix, if you define any interface, so always use I prefix, means you and user can be easily understand this is the interface because it's a prefix I here. So public interface I test interface like this. So how to do that? Let me show you. Define one interface here. Okay, it's a simple class. First of all, it's a simple class. If you want to change this class to interface, so you can change like this. I will show you here, like interface. face demo, something like that. Okay, so always use like, or not use like a interface prefix first of all. So you can use anything like, let's say test interface, something like. So always use like I test interface, something like that. I prefix, first of all, I prefix. Click on this OK button, and after that you can see this one. And this right now is the Apex class. So how to change this class to that is called interface? So just remove this class keyword and use interface. Interface here. Interface, this one. Now you can see public interface, this one. So right now this is the interface, not class. Previously you can see this is the Apex class. Now you can see this is the interface here, right? Now under this interface, let me define only method body method, abstract method here. So public void or add, or here integer a comma integer b. This is a, because interface doesn't require any abstract keyword prefix, because it's already implemented by this framework. So no need worry about every time you have to write keyword that abstract. So it's automatic abstract here. Okay, like void add integer comma integer b, it's having two parameters. So how to use this interface under the classes? Okay, and how to implement this interface under the classes? So we can use with the help of like keyword that is called implements. So if you want to implement any interface, so you can use this keyword that is called implements in our Apex classes. So how to use that? Let me show you. Let me create new class for you. Let's say demo int. Okay, click this OK button. And once you click OK button, you have to use like implements keyword, and you can use your interface name. So my interface name, this one, and you can use here like this. So this class is a responsible to implement or to describe that method here. Here you can see like add. So it's a this class is a responsible to implement this method under this class that is called demo init. So how to do that? You can use simply here. You can select public void and add method. This add method having these two parameter. Let's say this one integer. Let's say integer b, and you can perform any operation here like system.debug. Let's say addition, something like that. Addition. Okay, and then plus and a plus b, something like that. You can perform like this. So save this, and now it's time to do what? How to use this class and how to execute this class. So you can execute this class with the help of instance. So how to do that? Let me open this anonymous window here, and let me sorry, it's a cut. Just copy this class name here and paste it here. D1 equals to new demo like this, and you can call this method like d1 dot add, and you have to supply two parameters like 10 and 20, something like that. And now you can see execute, and after that you can see the output as we expect, like 30. So here just click on this debug only. Now you can see addition 30, right? So this is the interface. So interface is a very most important for us. If you define any method, so this class, any class, not this class, any class, if you want to implement this interface, so that class is responsible to implement this method that is called addition. That's why you can see the implementation. This is the declaration here, declaration, and this is without method, without body. Okay, so this is the way. So this is all about like object-oriented programming system under the Apex. I hope you learned something new. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And over to you, Susant and Sase.
Thank you, Rohit. It's a great session and very helpful. Many gain knowledge through the OOPS concepts in Apex. And we have a question by Harshit Malhotra. Can you tell real-time usage of copy constructor when we usually use in Apex?
So in my project, I'm not using any like copy constructor, but it's a concept. Okay, so you have to use these all things. It's a concept. If you know this OOPS concept, so always use all the concept, not like all the pillars we have. We can say that like all pillars in the Apex. So every time we cannot use all the pillars in our project or in real time, right? So it's a project specific or a specific requirement we can use. So this is the one of the concept. That's why I already shown these things. That is called copy constructor. Okay.
Okay, any questions? Okay, then let me share my screen. We will start the Kahoot. Please everyone join through the Kahoot link and the pin. Okay. Can please use your real names, not like PP, NJ, MD. Use real names rather than using the shortcuts.
Also, guys, all the attendees, I request you, so please follow me my YouTube channel and social media. If you have any query regarding any session, so you can ask me, and you feel free to ask me, and let me share these all links, and you can go ahead, and also you can subscribe my YouTube channel for more contents like this. Okay, so let me share, and please support me. That is the main purpose. Okay.
Yes, please do follow Rohit. He have more content where we can gain knowledge. Okay, then we got 29 participants, but these NJ and PP. Okay. Rohit, shall I start?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, okay. Let's start. Yes. Log. What are the 4 pillars of food? Twenty-one are right. M. Rohit, Sai Krishna, Shashank. What is the main purpose of food? 24 answers. Mhm. 18 are right. Lakshman, climate plus something. Can we use loop in Apex only? Twenty-four answers. Okay, 23 are right, only one wrong. Apex is case sensitive language.
I request you, Nirpesh Joshi, so don't put any answer in the chat. Okay. I know you know all the things well and good, but don't put any answer here. Okay.
What is oops? For answers. Okay, 11 are correct. And podium. Third place is R. Shashank. Second is Sai Krishna, SAS. M. Rohit Sri. Okay, M. Rohit Sri, please share your mail ID and full name. And please accept a delay of 2 to 3 weeks to get a voucher, because we need to submit the details to the Trailblazer community to get a voucher. And thank you. Please share. And thank you, Rohit, for the awesome session.
Yeah.
We will
Thank
meet
you,
up
Sasi,
again.
and thank you all. Okay, sure.
Uh,
Okay, have a good day and have a good weekend for you. And thank you and see ya.
Yeah. Bye. M. Rohit, please share your mail ID also. Can you please share LinkedIn also? We can post about you. Congratulations.